Hi everyone, this is JJ Johannes and Tim Shivering from IAHomes coming to you again. And we wanted to thank everyone who watched the video we did last week and appreciate everyone reaching out to us and giving us some feedback on that. This is a weekly series that we want to do talking about different topics. Last week we talked about one of the myths that or misconceptions that people have, not knowing that we have agents or the buyer side. And so as we do this, we'd like to have you guys give us some feedback and thoughts and questions that you guys have in real estate. It can be anything in real estate, buyer owner side, agent side, inspections, all those different things. Feel free to comments below, and then also if you want to reach out to us direct, you can do that as well. So today we wanted to cover a couple topics that we hear when people are thinking about selling their home by owner, and a couple of questions that they may have sometimes that come up or misconceptions. And so the first one is that when they're selling by owner, and we have real estate agents that if they sign up with us, they're worried about having to pay that or be locked in to pay buyer's agent commission. And so I guess that's something that you hear from people when they call in, Tim.
People do call in, and due to the options that we offer and not a lot of people have out there, from traditional real estate agents to Zillow to for sale by owner to just really anybody out there, it's confusing for some people. So when they see the by owner, then they see commissions being offered, they think they're kind of tied together. And ultimately, we're just trying to give a seller the decision or a choice to sell their house however they feel will best suit their situation. So if people do decide to pay up front and they want to go the buy owner route, they're free to do that. And there's no money due to IAHomes on the back end. There's no commissions. There's no percentage due to us. So the marketing will be all geared for that seller with their name, their phone number out on Facebook and Zillow and our website. So any communication, anything to do with the property will all be going to the seller. So that's some options that people like. Other people, they have interest in it, but once they see the whole story, then they may consider some of our realtor options. But again, we're just trying to make, like we talked last week about being transparent in the whole situation, and there's really no crossing over from one to the other. Once you kind of choose by owner or you choose with one of our agents, that they're a separate package, if you want to call it a package.
Yeah, and so, for the sellers who are selling by owner, ultimately it's up to them working with an agent, and whether it's an agent with us or any other real estate firm in town, it's up to you in negotiating that. By listing with us by owner, you're not locking into anything on that. It's up to you individually to work with each agent that reaches out to you. And so sometimes people feel like that's going to be part of it and they're going to owe us something on the back end. The way our by owner packages are currently structured, you pay us an upfront marketing fee, but then there's nothing else after that that is owed to IAHomes in transaction when someone is selling by owner.
Yeah. Whether a buyer decides to use an agent or they want to go direct to buy owner listings or buy a family property, that's their decision. So we don't really control hardly any of the buyers out there. When people are deciding to list, we're about exposure. You want to get on the MLS? Do you want some assistance in negotiations? Do you want help with pricing? I mean, what level of assistance are you wanting and asking for? Or, are you a person that likes to be hands-on and you want to tackle everything by yourself? That's a decision you can make. But when these buyers are coming at you from different areas, whether they choose to use a real estate agent is going to be strictly, their choice. So that's not an IAHomes decision where if you list with us, like you won't get any calls from real estate agents or you only receive calls from real estate agents. We have no control over where people are, finding these homes. So we're going to try to do everything we can to hit social media, make sure it's out on Zillow, make sure it's on our website so buyers see it. And then it comes down to how comfortable they are in negotiating skills. And we do see a lot of properties move for sale by owner. And then we also do see properties that have agents assistance, and how the deal gets put together. That's the art of negotiating.
Yep. And along those lines, coming at it not even from a IAH perspective, but FSBO or for sale by owner in general, when you list your home or you're marketing at wherever you're marketing at, you're going to have agents potentially contact you, and sometimes depend on the price point of the home, the location, those type of things, the type of home it is. You may have a higher percentage of buyers who have an agent or not. But again, at the end of the day, it comes down to each individual buyer. Are they comfortable with buying the home on their own, even though you're selling by owner, or do they want that assistance throughout the process? And then if they do want that assistance, then it's down to you, talking to the agent, working something out to where it's a win-win for both of you. So
yeah, I mean, big thing is making sure the seller has options, making sure they understand the path that they're on, and also understanding the path that the buyers are on. Because whether you sell by owner or whether you use a real estate agent, ultimately it's not JJ and my decision of how you sell your house. That's your decision. We just want to make sure you're educated, but also we want some sort of education buying side as well, because the main goal in this whole thing is for you to sell a house and net a number that you're satisfied with, and then the buyer to move into the property, pay what they feel is a fair price, and then the process handled smoothly to get everybody, where they need to be. So sometimes that can happen by owner and with, direct communication. Other times that's not a good thing to have direct communication, because if something arises, now there's no buffer between the buyer and the seller. So there's pros and cons to each way. So, if you have questions or, anything that you want to reach out to us about, we're happy to have an interview consultation, phone call, email. We're here to, help you and just make it more transparent as the buy owner and realtor offerings that we have.
correct. Yep. And want to say real quick, thank you for Malia and Melissa for joining us on live here. The next thing, kind of to switch gears within the buy owner side, is one of the things that sometimes is a myth or misconception or misunderstanding is, since now that we've added the agents, that the people who are listing by owner with us, that they're have success, or maybe that we don't want them to be successful because we want them to ultimately list with one of our agents. And over the course of the years, we have seen that by owner success hovers somewhere between 50 to 70%. There's going to be a lot of factors that go into it, but a lot of what are the market conditions like currently? What's the price point of that home? What's that home doing? Are condos selling well? Are $500,000 house prices selling well? First-time home buyers? So all those kind of can be factors in that. And so that's probably something that you're hearing as well, is sometimes people aren't sure, am I going to be successful with you guys if I sell by or are you guys just trying to get me to list with an agent?
Yeah, well, number one, the house isn't going to change whether you do buy or realtor. It's in the same location. It's going to look the same. The condition you keep your home, the updates you do to your home, that's completely up to you, is what condition you want it to be to put on the market. And then also the price you choose your house, that's another point that you're going to be at. So whether you want to get appraisals, or whether you want to have realtors buy, or whether you go off the assessment value or Zillow's value, you have all these options to determine how you price your house, motivation. That will also factor in, to the viewership of who sees your house. But then once you start getting people to see it on the buy owner side as well, your ability to work with people, negotiate with people, that will also factor in if you can get a completed sale. So there's so many variables on the success rate of selling by owner or with a realtor to matter. But the more educated you are, the more information you have, which we try to provide you. We're just trying to get you better chances to sell by owner. But some people take that information and work with it, and other people, they have their mind being what they're going to do, and that's fine because it is their house, and it's our job just to get people to see it. So, but yeah, there's so many variables as why a house sells.
Yeah, and like you said, each house is its own house. I always feel like each house, people want to talk about what's going on in the market, and the market is kind of a macro level of looking at everything, but each house is its own micro market of new construction, condo, school district, bedrooms, bathrooms, price point. What are the buyers that are buying that house? What's that price range for jobs look like, and what's going on? And that can fluctuate month to month, and it definitely fluctuates year to year. So looking at the success rate is ultimately is a hard thing to do on the buy owner side, because ultimately it's going to come down to that seller, and maybe how realistic are they in their price? Does the market say the house is 200, but they feel like, well, I bought it for 190, I put 20 into it, so I got to get 225 to get my number. Factor in someone's success rate. But from our perspective on the IAHomes and the people selling by owner, the efforts to help them sell, to give them as much exposure as we can, has been consistent throughout, and it's been there for going on 16 years now, where we're trying to give you the maximum exposure we can, because ultimately it's about getting in front of as many people to see it, as many eyeballs, so to speak, as we can.
Yeah, and sometimes people want us to create the market. They want us to go find them a buyer. I mean, there's not a company, not an agent out that creates the buyer. So sometimes you actually have to react to what the market's telling you, whether you like that or not. Sometimes it is. And so we try to be fair up front and let people understand where the market is currently at, and then they can take it from there if they want to do the buy owner path. So, we'll do all we can to promote it, but at some point it's somewhat out of our control, as well as the buyers that are out there.
Correct. So, yep. And that kind of covers the topic for that. Is there anything?
No, I think we covered everything else. So if you guys have ideas, topics, conversations that you're hearing or want us to discuss, we're happy to do it. We're trying to keep these somewhat short, 10 to 15 minutes. As we dive into these, they can kind of extend a little bit longer, but we just want to make sure we're getting as much info across and talk about more or other topics.
Yeah, if you have any thoughts on topics and things you want to have us cover or discuss, feel free to leave a comment below, as I mentioned earlier, or reach out to us direct. And each week we'll try to do these once a week. Hopefully, if Mondays work within our schedule, we'll try to do these on Mondays. And so hopefully, you continue to, come back and watch these videos as we talk about the real estate and help kind of educate you guys, give you the value out there that will help you in real estate. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out to us. We appreciate your time. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week.
Thanks. Hey, thanks, guys.